Hey guys, what's up? Tyler with T Game and Tech, and today we got some exciting news about the new iPad, which has just been announced by Apple. They did their live keynote earlier today, and soon enough you will be able to watch that on their website. They will upload the video along with some pre-order information, and you can actually pre-order the new iPad today. So today in this video we're just going to be going over a couple things about the new iPad, some specs, some things to expect, and just a general overview of what Apple announced today at their live event. So in the third generation of the iPad, Apple did introduce a Retina display, and that's something that we all guessed what was going to happen. It was kind of obvious. It was needed, kind of. The iPhone 4 has, the iPhone 4S has it, and if the iPad came out again without it, I think the display would be lacking a lot. So a new Retina display in the iPad is now available, and it will be available in the new generation. The new iPad also has the A5X dual-core CPU. It does not have the quad-core that we thought it was going to have, but they said it can produce quad-core graphics. So Apple was kind of sneaky during their presentation. They said A5X CPU with quad-core graphics, but they didn't say there was a quad-core CPU. So at first I was like, oh, okay, quad-core, this is awesome. But when you look at it, it's actually still a dual-core. But the A5X has been said by Apple to produce better graphics than CPU than the Tegra chips that are being used right now. And they offered up a couple information about like 4 times faster or something than other chips, but it is going to be faster than what's out there right now, but it is not a full-blown quad-core chip. So I'm kind of disappointed to see that, but I really wasn't surprised to hear it. It was just one of those things that, oh well, but the A5X seems to be able to perform pretty well on its own. Another thing that has been updated on the iPad is the camera, and thank goodness, because the iPad 2 camera is terrible. All my pictures are grainy, they're just not good. We don't know about the front-facing camera, but we do know the back camera has been upgraded. It's 5 megapixels. It's not the 8 megapixels like on the iPhone 4S, unfortunately, but the camera is built similar to the way the iPhone 4S camera is built. It's like 5 or so different layers of lenses and stuff like that, and a bunch of fancy camera terms that help it take better pictures, image stabilization, I think. A lot more stuff built into the camera that helps it create a better picture, and really anything right now is better than what the iPad 2 camera is, so anything is a step up from what it used to be. We didn't really get any news on the front-facing camera, but the new back-facing camera is called the iSight camera now, and the front-facing one is still called your FaceTime camera. The new iPad is also available in 4G, and that is a huge step for Apple, because a 4G iPad means the next iPhones are probably also going to be 4G, so that's almost a guarantee for the next iPhone, which is good. But see iPad go 4G, I think that's very good. You're going to really be able to take your iPad basically anywhere. It's not a world 4G iPad, so not one iPad is going to cover both at&t and Verizon and other carriers, but they're going to have specific iPads for 4G, but it will be a 3G world tablet. So it'll be able to work on different 3G services, but it will only work on a select 4G network. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're buying your iPad. If you want a 4G for AT&T or Verizon, but it will work. It has 3G world capabilities. The baseline pricing has stayed the same on the new iPad. It's $499 for the baseline 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi model, and so I think that's great to hear. The iPad 2 prices went down by $100. On the baseline 16 gigabyte for the iPad 2 is actually $399 now, and that's still a great price for a great tablet. I would highly suggest, if you don't want all this fancy new stuff from the iPad 3, that you go out and buy the iPad 2 for $100 less. But on the same side of things, you can get a lot better tablet for only $100 more. So I mean, that's really up to the person who's buying it. The iPad 3 is offering a lot of great updates, but somebody who doesn't need all that fancy stuff, an iPad 2 would work just as well for them, and it'll be $100 cheaper. The iPad will be available on March 16th, but your pre-orders do start today. Like I mentioned before, you can order them on Apple's websites. I'm pretty sure you can pre-order them in stores, but basically it's going to be available in the US on March 16th, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be available everywhere else on March 23rd. And by everywhere else, I mean a lot of other countries, not every single country. But Apple did give a big list of countries that will be available on the 23rd. I'm not sure what these all are, but there was a lot of them. So it's good to hear that it's going to be going to a lot of countries in the same month that we're getting it here in the US. And as far as the name for the new iPad, it's the new iPad. There really isn't an iPad 3 or an iPad HD. Apple's basically calling it the new iPad. And I think that's okay, but there's going to be a lot of confusion about the original iPad, the iPad 2, and the new iPad. And I looked at the box on the Apple website right before I made this video, and the new iPad's box looks basically the exact same thing as the iPad 2. I'm really not sure how people are going to differentiate the difference between the iPad 2, and the new iPad. That can be kind of confusing for customers, but if people know what they're after, they're going to be able to find it without a problem. And so I think I get what they're trying to get with. because you don't see the MacBook 10 or the iMac 15. You see the 2011 MacBook, the 2012 MacBook. So I think we're going to, in this era, we're going to start seeing the 2012 iPad, the 2012 iPhone. We're going to get away from iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, because that can get a little bit redundant. They might go with some different ends like X or HD maybe down the future. But if they didn't do it now, I really don't suspect them to. So I think they're trying to get more toward a unified name of this is the iPad. If you're really curious to see what generation it is, we'll tell you in the specs, and maybe you'll know by the year it's released. But I can understand and see what they're coming from when they're just calling it the iPad. But I can also see where there will be some customer confusion, being like, what in the world am I buying? The first iPad, the new iPad. So hopefully it gets resolved and it's not going to be a big issue, and the iPad will continue to sell and do very well. Along with the iPad, there was also going to be iOS 5.1, which is going to be coming out today. And in that, it comes some different updates. They really didn't touch on it a lot. They mentioned Siri is going to be in Japanese now. Not a big deal, especially for me. I have an iPhone 4, don't even have Siri. Don't speak Japanese either. But iOS 5.1 is coming out. And with the new iPad, they are announcing some updates to the iWork apps on the App Store and some iLife apps. GarageBand's being updated. All your iWork apps are being updated to fit the Retina display. There's also a new iLife app called iPhoto, and you see iPhoto on the Mac right now, but this iPhoto on the iPad is actually going to be available today in the App Store for other iPads. I don't think it's for the iPhone or iPod Touch, but basically you can edit apps, you can browse, or not edit apps, you can edit your photos, you can browse your photos, do a lot of stuff with your photos that you normally can't do. They also mentioned during the iPhoto demonstration that there will be some bezel multitasking gestures. They really didn't talk about it much, but they talked about how you can switch through photos using gestures on the bezel of the iPad. So we don't know if the whole bezel is enabled for gestures or just certain parts, but they hinted at that. So hopefully we can see more of that in the future and learn more about what that's actually about. But as for now, they just hinted at it and talked a little bit about it and really didn't give us much info about it. And I'm pretty sure that is going on sale today for $4.99 in the App Store, so you might want to check that out later. And all the other updates to the iWork apps and the iLife apps are going to be free updates if you already own them already on your iDevice. So one thing that Apple really didn't do with the new iPad is they didn't really fully include Siri. They mentioned voice dictation very quickly. It looks like the Siri icon and the keyboard, but there's no full-blown Siri. And I'm kind of upset about this. I'm not really upset because I'm not probably going to get the iPad 3, but I'm really kind of wondering why they didn't put in Siri. Siri is kind of the main thing going for the iPhone 4S, the new thing to get. I know a lot of people don't use Siri, but it'd be nice to have just to have in the new iPad. Dictation's nice, but I think they really could have done better with a full-blown Siri app and function within the new iPad. So that makes us wonder, is Siri going to come to all devices later, maybe in iOS 6 or a later version of iOS 5 is going to be put to the iPad 3? Really don't know, or the new iPad. We really don't know for sure yet, so hopefully we can speculate that maybe it will. But if it doesn't, the new iPad gets voice dictation, and that's about it. So that's basically my wrap-up on what's been announced with the new iPad. If you guys are interested, I'd suggest you to check out Apple's website. It gives more tech specs and stuff like that. I'm not going to be getting the new iPad. I'm happy with my iPad 2. I'm not going to sell it to get the iPad 3. I'm just not worth it in my opinion, or the new iPad, whatever it's called. But that's basically it for that. I'm going to be doing a video later, maybe talk about the new Apple TV that was also announced today. But other than that, thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to check some of my other ones out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tech and game content. So like always, thank you guys for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.